This is Sharon Massey, a Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I just wanted to show you how to make this cute little card. I just am calling it the Peekaboo flap card because this has a flap that you can open to reveal the pretty DSP, which is Animal Expedition, and then open it up to see your sentiment and the stamp, which comes from the animal outing. So I just want to real quickly show you how to do this. This one was done in one color, and on the sample I'm going to use garden green. This was the spruce color. It's a new color, and I don't have all the names down yet, and I don't have another piece of this right now. I'm still waiting for my order to come in. So what you need to do is you're going to need to take a piece of 8.5 by 5.5, score it at 4 1/4, and that just forms your standard A2 base. Then you're going to take a piece of DSP that has been cut at 5 1/4 by 4. And this is the Animal Expedition paper, the DSP in the 2018-2019 catalog. And then you're just going to glue that onto your base and try to get it as centered as you can. And then what you're going to do is you will need a second piece of the garden green. This particular one is cut at 5 by 5.5. And what you need to do is you need to take it and slide it at the, make sure that this is the 5 right here. And once you get it lined up on your 5, what I want you to do is just slide it over to the 3/4 line on this side right here. And you're just going to score it. You want to get the cutting blade out of the way. Remember, the lighter color is the scoring blade, so you just score it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to slide it down to 2 3/4 like this. And then you will just take a pencil and you're going to mark that spot right there. Make it where you can see it, and then come down and mark on the opposite side that. And then what you're going to do is flip it around to the 5.5 side, and you will score it at also, or rather, I'm sorry, put a dot at 2 3/4. And you want it on the side opposite of where your tab is. So that's going to be here. Here's where my score line is. I want to be on the opposite side of that score line like that. So now I have these dots. I'm trying to make them large enough so that y'all can see them. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your paper and you're going to take the dot and you're going to line it up with this dot over here. So you're on the opposite, this point's the opposite side of where your score line is, and you're going to put that dot where it lines up in what I call the cutting trough. Hold it and then make sure that this one is also in the same spot. Then really, really hold on to your paper so it doesn't get away from you while you're cutting, because you want to cut this tip. So you cut that tip. Let's get this out of the way. And now we're going to, excuse me, turn it around and do it the other way. So now we've got this little dot over here. We're going to line that up in the trough. But this time we want to go to this point here. So I've got to find my dot. I lost it. There it is. So we put that in there, and then we line it up with this point over here where we cut. So we're going to be cutting again to the tip that's opposite of the score line. And again, please excuse me. So now we have this little shape right here, and I can tell I missed my dot because it's off center a little bit. Not going to make a lot of difference. We'll just go with that for now. And then you can go in and you can erase your things, your little pencil marks, if they're still showing. Okay, so we're going to get this out of the way. Now what you want to do is you want to put some tearing tape along here, so that what you're going to be doing is you're going to take your flap like this and you're literally going to tape it to the back of your card. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of tearing tape. Remember that tearing tape is really strong. So don't get too close to this edge right here, because when you're setting that down in there, it's possible that you would accidentally get it where it'll accidentally close the whole card. So just strip along that side to hold it really good. And then if you're like me and you've got nails that just don't want to pick things up, you can just grab your craft knife and lift this like that, get rid of that. And now what we're ready to do is we're ready to put this on here. And my suggestion, and what I find easier to do, is to just put this in here like this and not lay it down till I have it really lined up. And I think we're good. So now I'll do it. And now you want to take your bone folder and you really want to score that really well, as well as this side too. So now we've got our flap like this, and we want to go on and cut our circle. I'm going to bring in the Big Shot. I used the layering circle dies to cut this. The size die that you use is going to depend on the image that you're going to have underneath it, so that can vary. Now, because there's so much paper stacked right here, this is going to tend to slide off. So what you want to do is you want to kind of line this up in here where you want it. And for me, I think that's about where I'd like it. This has been used painter's tape, and you really want to make sure a lot of the stickies off of it, because if not, you're going to tear your paper when it comes off, because you're going to be putting so much pressure because you've got so many layers there that it's going to make it a little rough going through. So I accidentally put one plate under the other one. Okay, so now we're just going to run that through. You're going to have to apply some pressure, get my plates lined up, to get it through. It's because you've got so many layers. You can do it. It will not cut all of your layers, but what it's going to do, hopefully, will cut the top layer and leave indentation so we can slide our dies back into the appropriate place. So let's see what we've got. We'll now take this off, put our plates down, and we'll see. So it did definitely cut that top layer, which is good. And I'm very gently removing this because I don't want it to stick. And now we're going to open it up, and I would suggest you open it all the way this way so that you don't cut the inside of your card, the very back panel. Now there's enough cut here where this is just going to drop into place. You no longer need the tape, because that actually, the little blades drop into where it was cut. Get that on there straight so it doesn't bend as we're taking it through the Big Shot. And now we're going to go through one more time, and that should cut out the rest. There's a lot of static electricity. It just doesn't want to release. So now I can pop that out, and you can see that I've got mine like this. So now we're ready to put the inside in. I think before we do that, though, you are going to have to cut a little tab in here to hold it. So now I'm going to go to the smallest of the layering circles, and I'm going to put it in because I want a little tab right in here. So I'm going to pull this back a little bit, and I'm going to line this up where I want it. Now I'm going to warn you, if you cut down too far, you're going to end up in this crease, and it's not going to stick as well. So my suggestion is when you are putting your plate on, we're going to slide this plate through, and we're going to take it to where we want it to cut. And I would just go slightly above your crease line in your card. And I think you'll get a better cut that way. Otherwise, you may end up having to glue dot things down. And I still may have to do that, but I don't think so. We'll give this a try and see how it works. So remember that it's only the Big Shot will only cut where this plate is. So once it hits this line right here, it's going to stop cutting. So none of this is going to be cut. Hope y'all can see this. Now we'll see what happens. And if I got a tab or not, excuse all the arms. Now I'll get this out of the way. Okay, So now if I've done this right, this is just going to slide right into there, and it does, and it holds that flap down, so that works really well. Now what we're going to do next is we've got to do the inside, and I cut this piece, I believe, at 5 by 3 3/4. So we're going to do that, but what we want to do is I'm going to put on the tiniest amount of tape, and I mean tiny amount of tape, to just kind of hold it in position, just kind of center that where you want it. And now what you're going to do is you're going to go down like this. Some people draw circles. I like to just put dots. So I'm going to put dots in there just to give me the parameters of my circle. I know I need to kind of basically be in that area. So then what you will do is you will stamp your image. You can open it up and stamp your image in here so it shows through the circle, and then do your sentiment. In the interest of time, I'm just going to open this one up and show you what it looks like. So I stamped this little guy. I stamped him, if you'll notice, a little bit below the circle. I didn't want him way up. I didn't want this bird to be covered up, so he's a little bit below that circle. So all you'll do then is, once you've got those dots in there, you'll stamp and stamp that, and then you will close it up. And the next thing that I did, and I pre-cut this, is I took, this is from the Animal Friend Framelits or Thinlits. I cut this out, colored it, and cut it out so that it'll be on here, and I popped that up with glue dots. So you end up with a card looking similar to this one. Just so you'll know, I like bling. I always like bling, so I put some of the rhinestones on here. One of them was actually to cover up a little tear spot because of that painter's tape being so thick. So I did that, but there is a green, and the way I got that green is I just took the basic rhinestones, because I really didn't have the color I wanted. You can tell this is a well-loved and used page. And you just go in and you just color, making sure you get down around the base. You just color your rhinestones so that you get your green rhinestones, which is what I did to get the ones on this particular one. So this card is fun to make. It's, once you get going, it's really, really fast. It's something a little unusual, so that when you're sending something to your friends, they feel like you've made something really special for them. So I hope you enjoy it. I will have all of the measurements and the supplies I used listed on my website, www.stampsidebyside.com. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See you later. Bye-bye.